Hey guys, and welcome to the Gitm Podcast, where we talk about all the things that excite us, piss us off, and all the above in the gaming industry. I'm your host, Nick, with my co-host here, Stu. How we doing today, Stu?
Hey man, I'm living life, just getting this new podcast going. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's true. I'm excited too, bud. So we're obviously all here to talk about one thing, and that's Modern Warfare. The game has had quite a rocky start in the beginning, wouldn't you say?
I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where, it definitely started off rough. Can't exactly say that's uncommon. And I
True.
think that's, more or less part of the issue when it comes to these type of starts.
Well, I mean,
And
with a game that has so much experience, though, how many games they've released now, you would think that day one server crashes would be the last thing for a AAA title. But, I mean, it seems to happen every time they release a Call of Duty. It's insane.
yeah, I agree 100%. I think, it's one of those things that battle in my mind of, it happens every single time. So I'm kind of programmed at this point to just expect it. And then it's just kind of,
True.
whatever, they're going to fix it. But at the same time, like that's, in my opinion, kind of a horrible outlook to have in that, I'm paying $60 for a game.
Hmm.
There's two betas. I don't remember if there's any alphas, but they brought in a lot of different people, a lot of streamers from Twitch to test the game even before the
Yeah.
betas went live.
Well, let's talk about the betas. I feel like the only big thing that they did from the beta was they took out a mini map that should have never been taken out in the first place, and then they put the mini map back in. It's like, what did you do in the beta? I don't feel like you fixed anything because number
What?
one, the Xbox One X crash is still going on, which is insane to me. I don't
Mhm.
understand how that's still a thing, and I don't know. I feel like latency in the game and lagging issues in the game are still running rampant. I don't feel like they've had any good patches yet. I don't know.
Right, and I feel like, with the one, at least for PC, the patch we had uh Tuesday, maybe Monday or Tuesday. It's like a seven
Hmm.
gigabyte download. It just feels like it broke more than it fixed. And I don't know if you've had, 'cause I know you've extensively had the issue with Xbox
Yeah,
crashing constantly, just breaking your game, kicking you from the party,
yeah.
X, Y, and Z, basically
Which,
making your Xbox just
fun
break.
fact about that: if you're not in a party chat, you will not get kicked from the game. So you literally have to be in their game chat, which sounds like you're talking through a tin can. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's rough.
I don't get that. I don't understand how you can have a bug in a game that causes the game to crash and then hard start your Xbox. I don't get that.
Did you have that issue in the beta?
I did not. It was after it went into full release that I ended up having this problem.
So that's another thing. I could be wrong. Again, I'm no developer. I haven't messed with games. I haven't made or developed anything. I am just a player.
Hmm.
It seems like from the beta to the launch, they broke more things than they fixed.
That's true. I could 100% agree with that. I mean, I know it sounds like we're nitpicking the game really bad. I mean, overall the game it's a decent game. I actually enjoy it a lot. But for the little bit of issues that they have, that I feel like Stu said, I'm no developer. I have no idea, but I feel like they could fix those issues. I feel like they have enough experience in all of the titles they've released in order to figure out a few bugs and then make patches. I know that they have the cross platform going on right now, which is really awesome. And I'm sure that that's really hard to keep servers up and everything with all these players playing on one server or on all these servers for them. I'm sure that's pretty hard to keep that all going. But I don't know. I feel like it shouldn't be that hard to fix, honestly.
Well, yeah, it's, you know, their first 3 days, the first 3 days after launch, they made $600 million.
That's wild. That's insane. Now I
They
remember
have the capital.
yeah,
I mean,
I saw that statistic. I think that's like their third highest selling in 3 days for their games that they've had that they've released, which is insane.
it's wild, and I think this is by far the greatest Call of Duty to launch in years. I
Yeah.
mean, I haven't had this much fun in a Call of Duty probably since Modern Warfare 2.
Well, they got back to basics basically. I
Right.
mean,
I mean,
it
yeah, for sure.
yeah. It's a
Um,
lot nicer than the futuristic like Halo hybrid. You know what I mean?
yeah, can't stand
Jumping
that jump
jumping
thing.
around and flying. Like what in the world?
I just, and then, honestly, that might just be the limitations of my own gameplay, my
Yeah.
own capabilities as a player. But You
But
know,
when the whole community is complaining about something,
right?
I mean, you should look into that. I mean, to get off topic a little bit here, I feel like Battlefield is kind of in the same area right now. Like they keep
Mm,
making, like World War One, World War Two games now. When people don't want that, they kind of like the modern feel of guns, the modern customizations and everything like that. Um, so I don't know.
well,
I
you
just
definitely see those waves, right? Because when
yeah.
what it was, World War II, Call of Duty World War II came out.
Hmm.
Was it two or one?
On in what regard?
Like it was based around World War II, right?
I believe
Oh, sorry.
so. I think it
Before
was
that, when Call of Duty came out, Infinite Warfare,
yeah,
I think after that was right before Black Ops 4. Everyone at that point for sure was burned out,
yeah,
completely burned out from the jump packs. And Battlefield came out with their boots on the ground. That was the World War One.
hmm,
Everyone lost their minds. People were so excited. Now I think Battlefield really missed the mark with that game. I think that game is very lackluster. I bought it, I owned it, I played it for a bit. Could never get into it like I was in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4.
yeah.
And
I
then
know
like
what
the
you mean.
most recent one, I had zero interest. I
Yeah.
was over it.
That's very true. All right, now moving on into the modern warfare world here. Let's talk a little bit about the unbalanced weapons that they have, such
Oof.
as the 725, which is basically a sniper rifle shotgun at that
Yeah.
point.
I
Um,
mean, you can get a scope for that shotgun that's literally a sniper rifle scope.
oh, I know, I've seen it.
It's gross looking. It
Yeah,
shouldn't be a thing. It's an abomination, but it perfectly, perfectly represents what that gun is.
exactly. I mean, there's a lot of guns that are super overpowered, and guns that right now feel like basically the only guns you should run.
Mm,
Like the M4A1, I believe, is the best gun right now in the game, in my
mm,
opinion. I believe that the M13 could have some potential, but at the same time, it just doesn't have enough power behind it. Where I mean, it honestly could. They could just do a little bit of weapon balancing and
mm,
make that gun, a little bit better. But at the same time, with all Call of Duties, I feel like people mainly have this one gun, and then everybody sticks to that gun because it's so overpowered. And
right.
then you basically have like three weapons in your custom loadouts, and those are the weapons that everybody uses
Hmm.
because that's just I guess they tailor it that way. I don't know why they do it, but I don't know. I would
Well, it
like
would
to
have been
see more
interesting.
diversity in guns.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see, if you take the M13 and the M4 and the levels that you unlock them on, you switched them,
Hmm.
if the M13 would have been the one to go with, because you unlock the M13 at like, I think it's 40 something.
Yeah,
It's pretty far down, right? I mean,
it
the AK
is.
is the last one you get, and I think the one right before the AK is the M13.
Yeah.
It
Well,
would have been
that
interesting.
the kilo gun, the very first gun that you
Mm,
start off with, is actually relatively decent. But as soon as you get the M4, I mean, it automatically replaces it.
right. I mean, I've seen a lot of discussions on the forums and just on YouTube videos and
Hmm.
streamers talking about it, but the kind of like the top three guns in multiplayer at least are M4, the PKM, and then the Kilo. And
That's what I heard. The PKM, dude, a light machine gun, blows my mind. Blows my mind that that's in the top guns, but it is.
I guess
Uh,
it's just I haven't really used it in multiplayer. I've used it in the gunfight with no attachments. It's kind of meh. I mean, it's really bulky. I never like shooting guns with just iron sights because I just don't think I can see anything.
yeah.
Maybe I'm just too old and getting blind, but um,
Well,
the M4 is a laser beam. So
it is. It is. Now let's go on with one more thing here, and we're going to talk about game modes. What game mode are you currently most excited about? Which one do you like the most currently?
oh, for sure, it's gunfight.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoy the aspect of your level doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what attachments you've unlocked.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter the time you put into it. Everyone starts on the same field, and at that point, it's strats and it's gun skill. Those are the
Yeah.
two things that matter.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely big time gun skill, but also in gunfight, it has its bugs and things that need to be
Right.
fixed as well.
Hmm.
I know that you personally like that you start off with guns, but I honestly liked it where you didn't start off with guns and you had to just run out and grab guns off the ground. I felt like it was more balanced that way. Um, but I don't know. I mean, I guess in a sense, it's definitely balanced right now because of the fact that you all start with the same guns and everything.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe it was more of a challenge than a kind of balancing thing for me
I don't
to
know.
grab a
After
gun off the ground.
playing the standard gunfight mode where you start with weapons for a week,
Hmm.
a big part of me misses actually getting the guns. I didn't think I'd say that, but a part of me actually does miss that. Just,
Yeah,
I might get the good gun, I might not. Who am I paired up against? What does my teammate have? Kind of taking all of that into account. Coming from Siege, I have to juggle 1,000 different things at once.
yeah,
With picking up the guns, that's just one more thing you have to juggle. And I enjoy that, so I was
yeah,
surprised.
yeah. I agree with that as well. Um, Also, the other game mode that I really like gunfight. If I had to rank them, how I like it, how I like the game modes, it would probably be gunfight, and then search,
Hmm.
and ground war. Ground war is a lot of fun. I don't know if you've gotten into that at all, really. Um,
I have played Ground War a couple times. The issue with Ground War um, that I've run into, and I've run into this in Team Deathmatch, I've run into this in a couple other game modes, is that, with this Call of Duty, the time to kill is so low,
yeah,
and it really, really boards just
yeah,
sitting in a corner watching a door, sitting in the back of the map with a sniper, and just absolutely demolishing anyone who comes in your line of sight.
uh huh,
I think part of the reason that has become such a huge thing in this game is the map design. They've gone
yeah.
away from the 3 lanes. They've really opened things up and made it random. So that really rewards players who just sit there and watch one angle.
That's very true. I also feel like now this sounds pretty bad, but I feel like ground war is a very low graphic, crappy Battlefield 4. Because I mean I like ground war a lot, but I feel like they tried to do what Battlefield did when it was Battlefield
Right.
4, and they just missed the mark. But I mean, it's still a fun game mode to play, and I love all of the different game modes that you've got to play because it inside of Call of Duty, because it gives you different, like, if today I want to play just team deathmatch, or I just want to do duos, or if I want to do massive combat in ground war, I like that, and I like that they give you a little taste of everything.
Hmm.
But if you want the full experience for ground war, you're gonna probably want to be playing a Battlefield of some kind. Just because they did it the best, honestly. Let's be
Right.
honest
Is
here.
Ground War 20v20 or 10v10?
I believe it's 20v20. Um,
I think that's part of the issue.
yeah,
With the maps that I've played on Ground War, they're so big. And,
yeah,
Battlefield maps are always big too. Don't get me wrong.
but they have
But
more players.
there was more players. I think most of the Battlefields
I
that
think
I
it's
ever played were
32-32.
32
Yeah.
versus 32. I think PC might have gotten bigger with like 64
Uh huh.
versus
Yeah,
64, something like that. And then, you had all the vehicles in Battlefield, but they
that's true.
worked. They were
Yeah.
balanced, they made sense.
Mm.
Vehicles in Call of Duty just ruin it, in my opinion. Like the
Yeah,
APCs are
that's ridiculous.
so strong. They're not
Yeah.
needed. It doesn't
No.
fit in with Call of Duty. No,
Yeah.
I like the implementation. I like the more adventurous side, trying to figure out, hey, what can we add to the game to make it new,
Hmm.
refreshing. I like the effort, I guess.
Yeah.
But I
That.
think if they take out some of those vehicles, the APCs, would make it
Mhm.
so much better.
Or if they have the APCs and they keep them in there, they need to put guns on the helis so the helis can deal with the APCs. Because right
Mm,
now, I'm using my kill streaks in order to blow up these APCs. Like, if I'll get the lightning strike or whatever they call it now,
right.
I'll go ahead and target it on that APC, and I'm wasting one of my kill streaks just to kill it, because God knows the people on my team are borderline at this point. They have no idea what's happening. They're just running around with their heads cut off at this point. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Mm,
guys, do you not see on objective B, we're getting smoked by this APC. You guys have to do something about it. And I find myself just, basically going out trying to kill everybody or kill
right.
the machinery. But
Hmm.
at the same, that's basically with every game mode. Teammates can just kind of be a pain,
Right.
honestly.
I mean, that's Call of Duty.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, that's the realm you get when you have a massive game such as this. When you
yeah.
have the just massive influx of the casual gamers, and
Hmm.
casual gamers keep gaming alive. I mean, I
That's
don't
true.
think there's any question about that. But when you get into the more specialized games, especially if it's like a ranked play, when you have a rank based on your skill.
Uh-huh.
The higher you go, the more just skill and I guess common sense kind of
Yeah.
plays a part of it. I think kind of going back to the ground wars, the way to fix that would be remove like the APCs and the vehicles, and or make the maps smaller, or
Mhm.
keep the maps the same size and increase the player size, the amount of players that are in each game.
Yeah, I might argue with you there. I feel like the ground war maps are too small in my eyes.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like they could be a little bit bigger because every time that I go inside of a building or something, I feel like I find people camping in there. They're too
Hmm.
scared to move. I don't know if maybe having a bigger map with more players would make it, a little bit more enjoyable to play because I feel like people would actually want to get out of a corner and go out and explore. Um, but it could also be the fact that this game is relatively new, right? It's only about a week old.
Sure.
So people
Hmm.
don't understand, where to sit or what to do and angles that people hold and things like that. And maybe once that happens, people will be more, ready to go out and adventure and not sit in the corners.
Hmm.
But until then, I don't know. Um,
That's interesting.
have you played Cyber Attack yet?
I have actually not, and I haven't touched that. I've seen a little bit of gameplay on Twitch.
Yeah,
Um,
it's all
I
right.
don't know. I
It,
mean, I don't
it's
know if it's really my cup of tea.
yeah. I love Search. I mean, Search is
Right.
what I've grown up on playing, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't really have any interest in Cyber Attack. I've played it quite a few times. But I feel like now this is just my opinion, but in the beta there was more people, actually willing to revive you in Cyber Attack, but when you
Okay.
actually play Cyber Attack now in the full release, people just look at your dead body and just walk right past you, bro. I'm like, dude, what's going on? I feel like people just turned into big like jerks in this one. I don't understand. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, I think I played it one time in the beta.
yeah,
Um, I don't know. It's one of those things where like it, the priorities seem to shift
yeah,
in the sense that like with search and destroy, just basic search and destroy, you get a kill, that's it. You're done worrying about that guy, right?
yeah.
If you're
There's no
attacking,
revives. Yeah,
clear the people out, plant the diffuser or bomb, whatever, and then just wait.
exactly.
Whereas in this one, it's like, oh, my teammate died. Let me wait a second for everyone to leave, and we'll go revive him. Or if it's a 1v2, right? And you're
Hmm.
pinned down with a guy. That second guy, if he was smart, would go revive his entire team. And now it's a 1v6. Like it just doesn't seem
Yeah,
very balanced to me.
that's very
Uh,
true.
I don't know.
Well, with
Maybe
that
I'm
in
wrong.
mind, I feel like the maps for Search and Destroy and Cyber Attack, I feel like I don't know if they're necessarily too small, but it goes back to what you were saying about the lane issue.
Mm,
There's not three lanes anymore, so you've got all these different areas, different buildings you can hide in, and all these different places that you can go in. When all the other Call of Duties before this, I mean, you knew which way they were coming. If you were planting the bomb, you knew what angles to watch and which way to
right.
go. It
Hmm.
makes it more difficult. I don't know if, unplayable is the right word to say for it, but it definitely makes it more challenging to hold angles and to figure out what you're going to do in a competitive standpoint.
Right.
So, I mean, for casual gameplay, it's whatever, but when you're playing competitive, you need to know exactly where people are going to come from, and you just can't figure that out.
Yeah, I think, map knowledge and game knowledge only takes you so far when you have the complexities that we have seen in these maps. Like
Hmm.
you said, you're holding an angle and you have to watch 1,000 other ones because of
Yeah.
just how open and how random things are. Doors open now,
Yeah.
right? So you have to figure out which doors open, which ones don't open, and it's a lot. I don't
It
think that's
is.
necessarily a bad thing, but when you get more open to that competitive play, I think we're going to see luck happen or play a bigger part than it has before. Whereas, like, say, Black Ops 4 on, I don't know, firing range, for instance, right? You're planting at the one site that's kind of in the corner.
Hmm.
There's really two ways that an enemy can come, and
Yeah.
you're gonna know. With the higher level play, you just know which way they're coming from.
Exactly.
Whereas now it's, oh, he might come from that left door, the right door, the middle roof, the, alley behind me. There's so many different angles that have to be covered. It
Hmm.
really makes a retake. It really makes protecting the bomb if you're down. Clutching is just so much harder now.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, I do. I mean, I still like Search and Destroy a lot. I still like Team Deathmatch. I like all of the game modes basically in Call of Duty. Um, but until people actually start figuring out things, it might be a little bit difficult to know what angles we have to watch and what game modes are the best, really. Do you feel like they're gonna add any more game modes, or do you think that this is it?
I think all we're gonna see is them tweaking game modes.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that is the ground war and issues like we've talked about. I don't really see them touching cyber attack. I mean, I don't really know what they could change. I mean,
I
the only
feel like
difference
that
between cyber
was
attack and search is the revives for
yeah.
more or less, right?
I feel like that was their like new baby. You know what I mean? Like they were
Right.
trying to get this cyber attack to be something big, and it just kind of failed a little bit, kind of flopped. So I feel like they'll make changes to it, but how many changes can you make to cyber attack until it becomes search and destroy? You know what I
Right.
mean? Because it's basically one aspect away from being search and destroy. So
That's true.
I mean, I don't know how much tweaking they can do to get more people to play it. Um, but I don't know. I feel like maybe they might introduce another game mode, but I kind of doubt it. I feel like definitely they're going to release more maps. We'll see a lot different maps because
I
I've
do,
no go on.
I do think it would be interesting to see if they come out with a battle royale
I didn't even think
because
about that.
Breakout in Black Ops 4 was huge. And that was big. A lot of people straight bought Black Ops 4 for the Breakout game mode.
It was Blackout.
Am I saying Breakout?
Yeah, you're
Blackout?
saying
Yeah,
Breakout.
you're right. I'm dumb. Blackout.
Well,
We're okay. Clearly, very big game, right?
it is.
Um,
But I
I
mean,
played it a decent bit back in Black Ops 4.
I did.
I think there's a chance that they could. I think it'd
Yeah.
be very good actually. I mean, just the movement has taken some time for me personally to get used to. I mean, I feel like my soldier massive and slow and
Yeah.
it's been a change, but the weapons feel good. If you kind of implement more health bar, kind of like Black Ops 4 had,
Mm-hmm.
although time to kill is a little bit longer because you can have it as it is now. Too short.
Exactly. Yeah. I
I
mean,
think I think a mode like that could.
yeah, I really enjoyed Blackout. I actually played Blackout competitively for a little bit. It was a great game mode, and then I kind of strived away from it when everybody else kind of moved on from it. But
Right.
then they started releasing crazier things. I mean, I haven't really kept up to date with it, but it almost looked like it started turning into like kind of like a Fortnite kind of deal, and I was like, yeah, I'm not really into that whole thing.
They did have recently-ish. They had the like jetpack
Yeah, that's what.
mode.
Yeah, that's a little
Looked like
ridiculous.
honestly, it did look like a lot of fun, and it seemed to fit that game rather well.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I'd want to see that indefinitely, right? I wouldn't
Yeah,
want to have that movement as the sole movement.
yeah,
Kind of those limited time events. I mean, that's fun. I have no issue with that. I think something that Fortnite's done very well is just the variety that they bring. They've done a
sure.
lot of stuff with that game. And I don't play Fortnite. I played it back in like season 2 and season
Mm-hmm.
3, back when no one knew how to build.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the best time
At
to
that
play
point,
it.
it was just gun skill. I did fine. I
Yeah,
actually enjoyed it. But once everyone started doing these crazy, I get shot once and then build a castle to the sky,
I know exactly.
I stopped
That's
caring.
now. Let's get a little off topic here. We will talk about Fortnite just for a second. I did play it a lot, and I guess if you want to call it season one, basically when it first released. And it was a good game. I was actually, we did the little bit of building here and there. Definitely didn't build any castles, but enough to get on top of people. And let's be honest, as long as you're above somebody in a game, you normally are going to win. So if they have the building aspect down and they can build a whole castle over your head, you're basically boned at that point.
Oh yeah,
But
because high ground is king.
exactly. High ground is always king, but Fortnite was an enjoyable game. But I feel like they started, once they figured out their demographic, which was, young teenagers and younger kids, they tailored the game to them, which in their eyes, great idea because that's where the money is. They wanted that market. They knew that that was the market they wanted. But for, gamers that are above the age of 13 you know what I mean, we just didn't like that. But I've actually got friends that still play Fortnite and they're as old as I am. I'm gonna say my age because you don't need to know that, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know, I just maybe maybe it's not so much an age thing that I'm thinking. Maybe it's more of a skill, or not like a skill, but more of a game preference. You know what I mean? Because it's got the
Right.
cartoony vibe. It's and you're right because they always add new things to it, and it's always changing. Let's say that.
Mm.
So I don't. Did they make a new map? Because I remember that they went into the black hole. Is
Uh,
that a new map that they made now?
Honestly, dude, I don't know. I know there was a meteorite at some point that hit, I think it was factories or something,
Hmm.
and then
Well, they had
went
the
back in time, and then like a
yeah.
Kraken thing and a robot fight. I don't know, dude.
Well,
It was.
they had the big scare of like everybody thought Black or Fortnite was gone.
Oh yeah, the black hole
The
thing. Yeah,
black
you're
hole,
right.
yeah. So I
And then
think,
Chapter 2 came out.
I think they did make a new map. I think that's
I
what they
think
ended
you're
up
right.
doing.
I think they did.
Um,
But here's something. Here's not to stick on Fortnite too long. I've read this on Reddit a while ago about someone actually thanking Fortnite, and I was like, that's kind of a weird thing because all the memes on Fortnite
hmm
about Fortnite are bashing it and oh, it's a kids game, blah blah
yeah.
blah. However, with our favorite games, like one of my favorite games of all time is Rainbow Six Siege.
hmm
Um, PUBG when that was big, I loved that game.
Yeah.
Apex Legends, absolutely love that game,
hmm
right? And Fortnite has, like you said, they have that demographic. They have the as young as can be up to like, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, 15,
Yeah.
arguably the annoying range,
Arguably.
and pretty much put them all in one basket, right? And taking them away from all my favorite games. So now I don't have to deal with that. So I don't
that's,
know. I'm thankful
that's
for
what they
Fortnite
thanked
for
him for
that.
on Reddit. That's kind of
I mean,
funny.
yeah, more or less. It's a daycare, right? I mean, we're free to do our adult things and do what we want, and
Yeah.
they're on Fortnite. Fine with me.
Well, I mean, at the same aspect, some of those kids that play Fortnite are insanely good.
Oh my
So
gosh. Well, the one kid is what, 16 that won the Fortnite like $1 million or
yeah, I
something.
think it was like
Yeah.
3 million or something insane. But I mean, at the same time, I'm playing. I kind of miss playing against those kids because some of those kids actually did pose a good challenge.
Oh
Um,
yeah, for sure.
but they can stay out of the game chat, so I don't have to hear them at least. 'Cause- but okay, getting away from Fortnite. Let's see what else we got here.
I got one for you. How would you feel? So it seems like recently with Call of Duty as well,
Mhm.
they kind of are going back to the roots, right? What was it? 2 years ago, a year ago, they had the Call of Duty Modern Warfare remastered.
Yeah, it was about a year ago, I believe.
About a year ago, whatever, and now they have Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Not really sure the discrepancy. I think the remaster was literally the first game just remastered, and then
Yeah,
this one was a
basically
new
it was.
take on
Yeah.
what the original story was. Do you think we're gonna see that theme continue? I mean, there are
Well,
spoilers here, people. If you want to miss those, click
yeah,
off.
I agree.
Um,
I mean, the theme for them going back into boots on the ground, basically. I believe that now that they've seen, you know, 600 million and three copies, they obviously know that there is a market for this, and that's what
Alright.
people have been missing so much. Hey, side topic, real quick. I don't know if you heard about this, but I haven't played the campaign myself. I know that you have you
Campaign
completed
is
it.
I beat it first day.
Now,
Short, amazing.
I've heard that in this campaign there is a part where these people are crossing this bridge, and it's called like Dead Man's Bridge or something of that aspect. Or do you know what I'm talking about?
From your limited description, I think I'm tracking.
Okay, so I guess what happened is for some reason I heard this that the Russians actually got upset over this mission that you have in the campaign.
Okay, yeah. So there's nothing kind of what you're talking about.
Uh huh.
Do you want me just to kind of
Yeah, take it over because I'm
guess
not
what I'm
100%
assuming?
sure.
So I feel bad about spoiling it for you, but I mean, you brought it up. So there's a mission where you are in the Middle East, and one of the main characters in the game, I can't remember her name. She's basically the leader of this resistance group in the Middle East. When she was a child, probably five, maybe 5 or 6,
Hmm.
maybe 4. I don't really know. You're really short when you play her as a child because she's a child.
Yeah.
You're in her hometown, and the Russians attack, and you play this entire mission as a child, and the Russians use gas. They illegally, because you can't use gas according to the Geneva Convention,
Yeah.
and attack this town took it over, and then you are a child and you're basically trying to escape, and the Russians are the bad guys, blah blah blah. My guess is that's what the article talked about that you read about.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, dude, that is a brutal, brutal mission. It really gives me the vibes of the No Russian in Modern Warfare 2 mission, where you get
Yeah.
gunned down the airport. If not worse than that, to be honest.
Yeah, and I feel like, well, actually, I already basically know this, or I've heard about it, is that the Russians obviously want the game basically pulled off their shelves. Now, I kind of feel like in every Call of Duty, there's some kind of controversy, and I almost feel like they go for that. The developers probably sit down at a table and say, "What can we do to piss off somebody so that more people talk about our game?" Because, like, you're right, the one that No Russian, that there's no way that developers didn't think that that was not going to piss off a country. You know what I mean? Like,
I definitely see the front that you're coming on. I
mhm,
think I actually disagree with you there, and their intentional aggression, or wanting to make controversy. Um, it's a tricky subject when you make a game on war, because war is not pretty. Obviously, I mean
yeah,
that's kind of common sense. War is very brutal. War's war. I've never been to war, thankfully, but I've been through history classes. I've done research on my own. I've played a bunch of different war games. No one likes, and there's no good story that's just black and white, and
yeah,
that's just, hey, there's a bad guy, let me go shoot him. There has to be some sort of depth. There has to be some sort of connection. And that's what
yeah,
makes some of these games so good, is you're drawn to it. You're connected to the characters you play.
hmm,
You want to be involved in it. And
yeah.
unfortunately, as humans, we're kind of big into controversy. I mean, look at all the wars that we've had. Look at all
Well,
the
that's very true.
troubles. And I don't want to get political here,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
but I don't know. I think it creates a great story. It paints a light that you don't usually see in other
Hmm.
mediums. I mean, a lot of the stuff is either just censored or just not even talked about. So I like
Yeah,
to see it in games. I think people need to more or less take this with a grain of salt.
yeah,
Obviously, anyone projected or portrayed in the game is not real. I think Call of Duty really
exactly. Yeah. Well, actually, I just found it on the internet here. It says the controversy surrounding the latest title stems from its Highway of Death mission. So I have yet to play that mission yet.
I don't know
Um,
how that would be controversial.
they say players take on Russian snipers along a battered
Oh,
highway in a fictional country, Urkistan. And it says, however, some reviewers, including many writing in Russian, have noted similarities between the fictional road and a real life uh, thoroughfare that links Iraq and Kuwait. Kuwait.
yeah.
Um,
Huh.
so supposedly there was a battle there. See, I'm not very familiar with it, so I'm not 100% sure. But I guess they thought that it, basically stems for that. But I'm not 100% sure. Let's move on to something else so that we don't bore you with this topic anymore. What else do we have on the agenda here? You got
Ooh,
anything else you need to add?
I mean, I think ultimately I would just like to see the developers taking the feedback and just fixing the things that need to be fixed, right? And
Yeah.
or raising up the things I work with.
Yeah, and I feel like that they're actually going to listen to people this time because they did listen in the beta, even though it was just a little bit. They
Hmm.
did listen about the mini map, which is great. I feel like, now that they have such big streamers like Dr. Disrespect or, everybody like that, I feel like they listen to them a lot now. I feel like all gaming companies now listen to the streamers, which is good
I mean, that's
because
for sure a smart move.
it is because those streamers are big with everybody that basically plays the game. Like if I'm not playing the game, I'm probably sitting in bed either watching Netflix or I'm watching somebody stream a game that I like. And if I'm watching them stream the game I like, they're either having fun with it or telling me everything that they don't like about it, and that's going to, put me in the position, do I really want to buy this game or do I not want to buy this game? So developers really do have to listen now, because there's so much that people can see before they ever buy a game now, and
Right.
that could make them lose money or essentially. So
And I think an important distinction needs to be made regarding a lot of these things. I mean, if you look at, for instance, Siege, back when it launched, 4 years ago,
Hmm.
that was a horrible launch, way worse than this Call of Duty.
Yeah,
Um, and I think, a lot of reasons a bunch of games launch in a bad state isn't the developers, it's the publishers. The publishers are
I
wanting
agree.
to push the game
Yeah.
to make back the money that they invested.
Hmm.
I'm sure there's countless developers that have been like, "Hey, these games aren't ready. We shouldn't push this." Ultimately, they don't have a say. They have a deadline that they have to meet.
That's true.
We have games that get delayed. Sometimes publishers listen. When it comes to Activision, I mean, they're pretty notorious for not caring. From what it seems
Yeah.
like, they don't care. They want to make their money. Thus, every Call of Duty the last few years has had a really bad start.
Hmm.
Bugs, balance issues.
Balance issues have always been huge.
Right. I mean, that's also difficult because like the
You don't know what
it's
people are going to use yet,
right, and the
basically.
meta's still being established. We don't
Hmm.
know what the primary guns are now. I think most people know the M4,
Yeah.
725. Those are kind of the go-to guns.
Hmm.
Uh, but a beta only reaches a small number of people compared to
Yeah.
$600 million. But it's what 100 million people.
Yeah. That's
Am I,
insane.
am I
Yeah.
math?
Basically,
I don't know. My math.
I don't know.
Been a while.
I'm not good at quick maths.
Yeah, can't do
Quick
that.
maths. Yeah. I mean, that is a ton of people, and some people game share, so it's not just one
Right.
person buying it. It's one person buying it for two people.
Hmm.
So I mean, they've sold a ton of
Yeah,
copies of this game.
it's been wild.
So, I mean, for them, they're obviously going to invest some of that money back into it and also pay everybody else that they had to pay in order to make the game.
Right. I'm
But
hopeful. I think this is going to be a solid Call of Duty for a while. I mean, it's one of those things where it's hard, right? Where you have, is this really going to last? Are they going to care after
yeah.
when the next Call of Duty
Well,
launches?
it begs the question, the next Call of Duty's coming out. Well, guess what's coming out next year? The new PlayStation and the new Xbox Scarlet. I mean,
Mm,
how are they going to tailor to that? Are they going to dump more time for graphics and everything, or everybody else just go to the PC master race? I don't know. So, I, I mean, basically, I, I don't know. The Xbox, obviously you're gonna get the normal upgrade in graphics and maybe
right.
speed and things like that, and so same with the PlayStation. So I don't know. I'm
Well, I
not
think what
sure
we'll
how.
see, not to get too deep into that, 'cause that's probably an entire another podcast
Yeah,
episode.
exactly.
I think we're going to see kind of what happened with the 360 and the Xbox One. Where the
Hmm.
Xbox 360 ran for what, like 4 years, 5 years almost, probably
Yeah, ran
something
for
like
quite a
that
while.
after the Xbox One launched.
Yeah,
And games were still releasing on both until they finally shut down the 360 servers.
yeah, yeah,
We'll probably see something similar to that. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. It makes me nervous a little bit just because like this is a really good game. I can see it lasting a while,
hmm,
but Call of Duty has never been Call of Duty has always been a game. It hasn't been a platform. Where like Rainbow Six Siege, for instance, is a platform game.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I might disagree with you there. I feel like a lot of people do. You kind of have the COD fanboys a little bit. People that will always buy a Call of Duty no matter what, even if you are flying across the world or if you're in outer space. You know what I mean? I just feel like
Sure.
people.
I meant more along the lines of just the way the games are set up. Like, Rainbow Six Siege and Overwatch are very similar, where they're always introducing new characters, so you have
Okay, yeah.
new
So you
life
mean yeah?
breathed into it. So
Hmm.
CS:GO, for instance, is another platform. It's not really a game.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest.
Anyway.
Call of Duty is going to make tons of money by
Oh,
releasing new
oh
games
yeah,
every year,
and
whereas
that's their model
Rainbow
for sure.
Rainbow's going to have a little bit more time or harder time making that amount of money
Oh,
back
absolutely.
because some
They'll
people
never
don't buy the
make
season passes. You know what I mean?
no right. They'll
So
never make the money that Activision does through Duty.
exactly, which is what's really crazy to me is Call of Duty has these tournaments for like 6 months, and then that's it. But they have so much money to give
Right.
out to these tournaments and things like that. Whereas Rainbow Six, they have pro leagues. All that game's been out forever, and they still have pro leagues on PC. It's wild to me.
Oh yeah. I mean, they even have some Xbox stuff, some PS4 console stuff. Not much, just because the scene isn't as big. Rainbow Six Siege, while it's bigger than it's ever been,
Yeah,
it's not nearly as big as Call of Duty, and it won't ever be as big, unfortunately.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, but there's a lot more to discuss in another podcast. So hopefully you guys had enjoyed this one. It's the first one that we've made. So it was a little, here and there. We kind of had thoughts everywhere, you know what I mean? But it was a lot of fun. So I enjoyed it. How about you, Stu? How'd you feel?
No, that was great, dude. I didn't mean to say I was great. Podcast was great. I'm really looking forward to more episodes.
Yeah. So I think in these upcoming episodes, we're going to have a lot more discussions, and they might be a little bit more mixed and matched, where we'll talk here a little bit about Call of Duty, and then we'll talk about Apex since they got the new duo mode coming out. We'll talk about Xbox and the new PlayStation and even PC stuff. So there's a lot of things that we'll talk about. Maybe we won't just keep it all, basically bogged down to one topic. Because today, I mean, I could feel myself. I was like, I like to talk about COD right now, but I also have all these other things that I need to talk about right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
See ya.